There's a place on earth where heaven once touched down? A place so sacred, so powerful, that kings, prophets, and empires have fought over it for 3,000 years, and still do. Welcome to Jerusalem. Jerusalem. A name that burns in the soul of humanity. A city not just carved in stone but etched into the very scriptures of time. For Jews, it's the eternal capital. For Christians, the city where Christ walked. For Muslims, the gateway to the heavens. But underneath its ancient skyline lies a secret, one that could reshape the world. At the heart of Jerusalem sits a sacred hill known as the Temple Mount. And on this hill once stood a structure of unimaginable holiness, the first temple, or as many know it, Solomon's Temple. Built almost 3,000 years ago by King Solomon, son of David, it was considered the dwelling place of the divine. Inside it, legends say, was the Ark of the Covenant, the most sacred relic in Jewish history. But then, it vanished. And for centuries people have searched for the Ark, in the deserts of Egypt, the jungles of Ethiopia, and the tunnels beneath Jerusalem itself. So why is Israel now obsessed with rebuilding the Temple of Solomon? Because some believe it's the key to unlocking prophecy. Others believe it's about reclaiming identity. But for many, it's about preparing for the end of days. Before we jump into that, we need to understand what was lost, and why its return could shake the foundations of faith and power across the world. Imagine a city where the past never sleeps. Where ancient stones whisper secrets, and every step echoes with prophecy. Welcome to Jerusalem, a city caught between heaven and earth, history and destiny. But beneath this holy ground lies a question that has haunted generations. Why does Israel want to rebuild the Temple of Solomon? This isn't just about religion. It's about identity, power, prophecy, and a plan that's been unfolding for centuries. Jerusalem, one of the oldest cities in the world, is sacred to three major religions: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. But there's one place at the heart of this sacred city that holds a mystery darker and deeper than most dare to discuss: the Temple Mount. The first temple, built by King Solomon nearly 3,000 years ago, was said to be the dwelling place of God himself. According to ancient texts, it held the Ark of the Covenant, a golden chest containing the 10 Commandments, given directly by God to Moses. But where is the Ark now? And why are so many still obsessed with rebuilding what was lost? Some say that whoever rebuilds the temple will unlock divine power. Others believe it will trigger the final chapter of human history. But before we get to the prophecy, we must understand what was destroyed, and why it matters more than ever. Stay with me, because this story goes far beyond walls and stones. It dives into ancient bloodlines, lost rituals, and a secret war that's still being fought today, not with swords, but with faith, politics, and prophecy. The story begins around 957 BCE. King Solomon, blessed with wisdom and chosen by God, builds the first temple atop Mount Moriah. According to the Hebrew Bible, this temple was no ordinary building. It was a divine commandment, a physical house for the Creator on earth. Gold-covered walls, cherubim statues, sacred incense. The Holy of Holies, where only the high priest could enter once a year, to speak directly to God. This temple wasn't just a building, it was the heart of the Jewish faith. But like all centers of power, it attracted enemies. In 586 BCE, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon invaded Jerusalem. His army destroyed the temple and looted its treasures. The Ark disappeared. The people were exiled. But the dream of the temple didn't die. In 516 BCE, a second temple was built, more modest than Solomon's, but sacred nonetheless. Over time, Herod the Great expanded it into a massive structure, a marvel of the ancient world. Yet in 70 CE, Roman legions crushed a Jewish revolt and once again, the temple was destroyed. Not a stone was left upon another. Only the western wall, the Kotel, remains. For 2,000 years, Jewish people around the world have ended their Passover prayers with one phrase: "Next year in Jerusalem." But in today's world, that prayer might not be symbolic anymore. Some groups in Israel believe it's time. Time to rebuild what was destroyed. Time to bring the prophecy to life. But rebuilding the temple comes with a dangerous catch. The Temple Mount today is home to the Al-Aqsa Mosque and Dome of the Rock, two of the holiest sites in Islam. And here lies the most explosive question of all. Can one mountain hold two faiths, without fire? Hidden in the alleyways of Jerusalem's Old City, a group of craftsmen work day and night. They forge golden vessels, stitch priestly robes, even train a new generation of Levite priests. All for one reason: to prepare for the rebuilding of the temple. This isn't fiction. It's real. Organizations like the Temple Institute have already created exact replicas of sacred temple artifacts, from the golden menorah to the high priest's breastplate. They've even mapped out architectural blueprints for the Third Temple. They're not just dreaming, they're preparing. But who supports them? Some ultra-Orthodox Jewish sects oppose it. They say only the Messiah can rebuild the temple. But others, including nationalist political groups, say the time has come. The idea is gaining traction not just in Israel but among Christian evangelicals in the US as well, who believe the Third Temple must be built before the second coming of Christ. So this movement isn't just spiritual, it's political, global, and growing. But what happens if they try to build it today? Because here's the reality. To build the temple, the Dome of the Rock must be removed. And that could start a war. According to the book of Daniel, the book of Revelation, and other apocalyptic texts, the rebuilding of the temple will signal the beginning of the end times. Some say it will usher in peace. Others warn of the Antichrist, the abomination of desolation, and global chaos. In Jewish belief, the Third Temple will be built by the Messiah, the Anointed One, during a time of global peace and spiritual awakening. But in Christian prophecy, it will be rebuilt before the return of Jesus, and may play a key role in the final confrontation between good and evil. Islamic eschatology also mentions Jerusalem as the location of the final judgment and the rise of the Mahdi. So now imagine this. A structure rises on the Temple Mount. Trumpets sound. Sacrifices resume. Millions around the world see it as a sign that something divine, or catastrophic, is coming. And in that moment, ancient prophecy meets nuclear-era geopolitics. The dream of the temple has never died. In the quiet prayers of the faithful. In the shadows of underground movements. In the plans drawn behind closed doors. But the question remains, should it rise? Some believe it's destiny, that peace and divine order cannot return without it. Others fear that trying to rebuild it could plunge the Middle East, and the world, into chaos. The truth is, the temple is more than stone. It's a symbol of faith, of power, of hope and fear. As of now, the Temple Mount remains contested, sacred to billions, and protected by tension. But make no mistake, the movement is growing. The plans are real. And the mystery of Jerusalem continues to unfold. The question is not just if the temple will be rebuilt. The real question is, when it is. Will the world be ready?